Hi, this is Mahesh Ravi, and I'm just recovering from a fever, and I thought it would be a good idea to just do a freestyle design thing. Basically, it's a very direct, unscripted sort of video where I'm just trying to freestyle design something. I don't have an idea in mind right now. I just have a vague concept of you know um, a poster. The goal is basically to make the process that I follow just out there. And how can this idea of freestyle designing help you build your muscle memory to good design, right? So let's get started with it. I'm just going to go and take this window right here. Two people who are sort of separated because of the situations that they are in. And uh, you know, after a long time, they are sort of realizing that they are supposed to be together, but by that time, they have drifted apart in every sort of way. So this was a theme that actually I was working on yesterday, and I created the poster and posted it on social media. And then I was thinking that okay, but while doing it, maybe it's a good idea to talk through that process. And I just wanted to find some good reference images of wooden sculpture of people. So let's go and find something which is sort of okay. I sort of like this particular style. Perhaps this. So I'm just going to take that, and that's my style, right? So I'm just going to just rename this quickly. I need a composition as well to work on this, right? So let's look for the composition that I'm thinking, right? So it's basically just two people hugging. And if I just write two people hugging, I don't think we are going to get anything which is artistically okay. Not bad, not bad. I think there are some pretty interesting compositions that I can see here. Okay, this is a very interesting idea for hug. I'm going to copy that. So why I needed that is that's a composition that I want. That's the form that I want the image to be in. So I have the composition and the style saved separately. So now let's start generating the image, right? And let's type in our prompt, right? So wooden sculpture of a man and a woman. Okay, let's see. Isolated background, high quality. Let's say this is our starting prompt, right? We still need to give a lot of inputs to this model, but to start with, I think this is okay. Is in here. So the aspect ratio is square, which is fine. We need a photo. We don't want it to be auto. We will make sure that this is a photo. So we have the composition reference. This is where we are going to bring in this image. This is the composition that we need. Let's upload that. Let's increase the strength to 100%. Let's come here for the style, and we already have a style in here. Let's increase the style of this as well. Without doing any other parameters, let's just test this out and how the outcome is going to be. Just see it. All right, this is pretty interesting. So we have some really good imagery which uses the style that we input and uses the composition of that photograph. Came out pretty well. And this is just switching back and forth, and we can see some really good images here. And I think the face is of both the characters are visible in this version. So that might be interesting to work with. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to click upscale so we can get a better quality image from there. We can download this. And we have the image right here. Okay, so that's the first thing that we wanted. So we have the image to work with. Now let's figure out the rest of the design. So what I was thinking is that the same concept, right? So I wanted a tagline to be built around it. So what I did was I had this idea, which I already shared with you, that two people who are separated and then they are realizing it and all that. So when I did this, I was wondering about what are the titles that I could use, and since I was down with a fever, my I had a lot of creative block. So I just went to ChatGPT and I started asking some questions to ChatGPT. So what I did was I went here and I just told the whole story. Um, so I'm just I typed in the whole idea and I said that based on this concept, um, suggest a title and also uh, create a beautiful short code. So we got something interesting. Fate's forgotten timing. And the code is in a world full of distractions. We lost track of the moments that mattered. Yet the bond we share is timeless. A reminder that sometimes love waits but never fades. Really interesting, line. And the the title, the tag is also really interesting. So we are going to use this to create a poster from for this concept, right? So let's head to Photoshop. Let's keep this here. So we have this to work with. So here I'm basically going with that freestyle design that I spoke to you about. There is no concept of composition in my mind right now, but it will happen as and when we are building on it because we have the content and when we are playing around it, it will shape up. That's called freestyle designing, and I'm using that workflow right now. So we have this. I'm just going to take a duplicate of this layer just to be safe. Duplicate this. Okay, inside the background layer. Let's remove this background so that it's just white because we said that we wanted isolated background. So I'm just going to remove the background. I'm just going to create another background, right? Something which sort of like a blurry wooden background. Okay, we have some interesting backgrounds. So I think this is interesting, that background that we have currently. Just let's play with the opacity of this layer. I think this is fine. So I'm just going to take all those and then merge it. So we have everything in one layer, right? So we'll call it background. So what we'll start with is a center block of text. And the text that we are going to use is the text that was suggested by ChatGPT. So we're going to go and write the text. So currently I'm just going to use black to write it. We'll have to decide the font and everything. So it's going to be fate. That's the first line. Let's scale it up a little big, right? So we'll bring in the character controls. We look for a simple font. And again, I'm not gonna, forage for fonts or any resources right now. Whatever I have here, I'm just gonna work with that, right? So let me just go here and then look for. Okay, I'm going to force an italic into it. It's just gonna bring the space a little tighter. Okay. Yellow or slight bit of orange which is there. So that's the first line. Fate's forgotten timing is the other one. So I'm going to just take this and it's going to write the second line here. Let's change the typeface to something a little bolder. So I'm just going to do that. Let's see how that is going to come. We have fates forgotten and timing. So I'm just going to take this, put it here, and then type timing. So for this, I'm just going to use something which is a sans serif. So let's go with something like that. Okay. So we have something like this. let's work on that, right? So fate's forgotten timing, and I have something just figured out right now. So let's work on the background image a little bit, right? So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to make it a little darker, right? So I'm just bring in a little more darkness into the image. I might actually increase the saturation of this image also a little high. I'll bring it a little high. Just I'm gonna make it in a level where it is not gonna break. I'm just gonna go all the way here, but I'm just gonna keep it to a level with almost is breaking, um, because of I wanted to bring that paint effect or something like that into it. So it's still, you know, and it's a very rough job of people, right? So that's the style that we have actually used for this. So I have that. I'm just going to play a little bit with the curves as well. So I'm just going to go to the curves and I will do some sort of adjustment here as well. Bring that. So we have a basic coloring done as well. Now I'm just going to take all that text in here. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit. So we have that sitting right there. Now we have a small code, right? We also we actually asked ChatGPT to give us a code. We're going to use that. So I'm just going to take that code and bring it into this poster. So let's go and take a text, draw a box right here. I'm just going to reduce the font size to maybe 15 something, and we'll paste our text into it. Let's go inside. So in the world full of distractions, that particular quote is actually here. I'm going to keep it right here. Let's do some fine adjustment to the type, right? So just manually adjust a couple of things here. Okay. We have a quote here as well. Now let's to finish this up, we will add a couple of other info right here. So we're going to basically take it from the keywords that we actually gave it to ChatGPT, right? Just use that keyword. So the man and woman,